was the most important book to him.
We have, you know, a bunch of people over, and he'd preach out of the Bible, which was funny because his stories were entirely different than what was in the Bible. I mean, he had a whole other version, very flamboyant, very expressive, and very funny.
People that came into his life, that came over the house in Los Angeles here, in Bel Air, or in Vegas, or in Graceland, he would turn on to his philosophy, so to speak.
Well, it was kind of neat because it did give me that connection with them, because I was sort of in that, you know, that sort of spirituality searching.
Yeah.
And when he started reading the Bible, I remember you saying, "Oh no, there he goes." And I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting. I'll hang out. I'll hang out. I'll sit here and let him read a few passages to me."
And as he got into his later life, he read books from different religions, lots of different books. The Prophet was one.
Gosh, there was so many. The Initiation of the World, Impersonal Life, Autobiography of a Yogi, Masters of the World. I mean, just many, many things of which Elvis just gravitated to. He loved it. He sucked it in. There were also other things that he was very interested in, and one of them was the Cairo Book of Numbers. And he loved numbers. He would always have this, and he loved words. He would break words down, like woman, woman, and break them into their syllables, and then try to match what that really meant.
Elvis said, "Come here, I want to read you something." And it was from Cairo's Book of Numbers, a numerology book. Elvis had figured out that I was a number 6. I couldn't go through the whole mathematics. I'd be so. Elvis says, "I'm a 6, I'm a 6. He also read me number 8, his number, which was, I mean, it was really Elvis, and it was really dark, too, though. It was about leadership and everything, but you would die early and a tragic life, and it's amazing. Those are the type of things he was into.
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight?
If I could have one wish, Jessica, I think it'd be to talk with Mama. There's times when I dream of her. She always smiling and happy. Sometimes we embrace. Man, it's so real, I wake up in a cold sweat. I know I'm gonna be seeing you and Mama soon, Jesse. I ain't afraid of it.
He had stacks next to his bed. He read all the time. He'd always adamantly underline everything and write quotes next to the underlinings. Like you'll see amen with an exclamation point, and it's in all of his books. He'd read something that he really liked, you'd see underlined, you know, and he'd write all kinds of stuff next to it, and the whole page would be just full of writing. You know, something he agreed with or really related to or connected with somehow.
Anything that indicated to him, he would kind of put a side note to it, and he would relate it to what he was doing at the time.
And a lot of those times, I was pretty impressed by what he was underlining, spiritually speaking, what he was, you know, looking for, and what made sense to him.
Somebody number way up in the middle of the air. I jumped somebody number way in the middle of the air.
I think in the spiritual side and in the books that he read, and that search is truly trying to get some answers of where should he go, why him, what does he do now?
It's what I wanted all my life, Jesse. Wife, little baby, success. I got it all, man. I ought to be the happiest person in the world. But I still feel like there's something missing, you know? Somewhere deep inside me, there's an empty place. gonna take, man? What's it gonna take to fill that up? I gotta find something.
Elvis would look to his twin for signs of guidance, for signs of strength. Elvis also felt that Jesse was his compass, was a sign of direction, that Elvis should, in fact, do great things, that had the two of them been united, they would have been able to do great things, that they were separated, Elvis alone had to be the creator, the perfectionist.
Come on, they say when one twin dies, well, then the other one grows up with all the strength and good sense for both.
There's no way anyone would go through there and go, well, this is not someone who wasn't looking, you know, for who and what he was.
In Bel Air, the sprinklers were going, it was those kind of sprinklers that would move back and forth. And the way that they were positioned, it looked like angels. And Elvis thought he was seeing angels, and he thought that they were calling him.
Lead me, guide me.
So he would go out and he wanted people to come and see, you know, what he was experiencing. He would see these things, and we would try so hard to see the same things that he was seeing or pointing out to us. It goes to show you his search for answers of some meaning to something. I don't feel he had or felt he had the support or backing or the understanding of who he was.
Music was Elvis's way of communicating with Jesse. The two had been bonded before they were born intrauterинely with the rhythm and the voice of the Fundamentalist Assembly of God Church, a very important cornerstone for understanding Elvis.
But I look at myself strictly as a human being who's, like I said, been very lucky, but whose life has blood running through my veins and can be snuffed out in just a matter of seconds, you know, and not as anything supernatural or better than any other human being.
I'd like to ask J.D. Sumner and the Stamps to sing one of my favorite songs. Why me, Lord?
Lord, have me, Jesus. I'm wasted, so help me.
He always had questions about why him? Why me? Why have I been given this talent?
He never really understood why all the adulation.
I mean, even if you're perfect, I mean, I'm not saying, you know, I'm perfect because no man is perfect. But there was only one perfect man, and that was Jesus Christ. And people didn't like him. You know, they killed him. And he couldn't understand why.
Jesus, my soul's in your hands.
It's lonely at the top, you hear that, it's a cliche. But for him it was very true, because I think he was one of the first people to actually get to a place like that was so, he was in such an ivory tower and so untouchable and so alienated after a while.